Let's talk about the new wild, wild west of scams. So, and I won't say it's new, but I will say that it's become very, very prolific. And that's dating apps, dating sites, social media. Um, in this day and age, I would highly warn any individuals that are utilizing dating sites, dating apps, and social media to do any kind of interpersonal relationship situations. And I'll give you some examples. I've dealt with some investigations, a lot, many. When I mean a many, more than my hands, more than my fingers. So, with that being said, where a person has joined a dating site, they've made a connection with somebody on a dating site. It's evolved, and it's evolved through direct messaging or a telephone conversation. They've maybe never met the person as of yet, and the heartstrings have been pulled. Things have been said to where there's maybe an attachment or a connection of some sort. And then it evolves into a conversation in which hey, I'm having a tough time right now, and I'm late on my rent, or my car just got repossessed, or maybe little small amounts. My refrigerator's bare, or things of that nature, and the person on the other end, either feels obligated or wants to help the person out, and the Cash App, $10, or the Cash App, money for a bill of some sort, or I'll take care of it for you, and that small amount, 3, 4, 5 weeks later becomes something else. I've even have it go as far as the person even traveling, the person that's receiving the money travels out of state, or sets up a meet date, where you meet the individual out at a restaurant, or the person maybe flies in or drives in for the day or what have you, and then there's a physical connection at that point. The person sees them, they meet, there's a physical connection, they go their separate ways again. There's still an attachment with direct messaging or telephone call, and it's being mined. Okay, the scam is being mined, and the reason why I say that is, the person had it from the beginning that they were going to scam the individual, or they're on these dating sites to scam multiple people in this fashion, catfish the person per se, and it evolves into intimacy, and involves it evolves into a situation where the person again kind of conveys to them, hey, I'm having issues with this, or I had a bad day at work today, and I came home, and my basement was flooded, and I don't have the money to fix it, and the person that they're interacting with, again, heartfelt, the heartstrings are being tugged upon, pays the bill or gives them money, and it's just ongoing. And then something big comes along where, hey, we're going to go on a vacation, and we're planning a vacation, or I need to see you more often, or I need to you're thinking about taking the next step, which is, I'm gonna move out of state, I'm gonna quit my job, I'm gonna move to where that person is, um, and we're searching for an apartment, we're searching for a house, or whatever. And there's money in exchange, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to sign a lease together, or we're going to jump into this financial decision together. Um, and down the line, that money is lost, that money is put towards something in someone else's name, or I'm going to give you a particular example of an investigation that I worked. A person met someone on a dating site. They made a connection. Our client was a female. The person on the other end told them or explained to them that they were a soldier in the army, and they were getting out of the army fairly soon. They did meet. They did meet up. They did have personal conversation. They did have intimate relationship. And it was on again, off again. The person supposedly came in on leave, and went back to their post, and which was overseas, and then played the back and forth, 2 or 3 different times. Made a commitment that they were going to move in together. The person that portrayed themselves as a military person said, "Hey, I've got a great apartment. I need money to put a down payment on it." It was like first month's rent, last month's rent. It was in Maryland. The person needed about $7,500 to be able to put money down. They were going to get, they conveyed to our client that they were going to be out of the military on such and such date, and showed him some fake paperwork, some fake orders. They needed the $7,500 to put down on the apartment. Our client, transferred $7,500 over to the individual, and much more before that time as well. As soon as the person got the $7,500, on the opposite end, within 2 weeks, ghosted our client. So all in all, after all of the transactions that took place, our client was roughly out of about 20 grand, and this happened over a 6-month period of time. And then our client wanted us to do a background, or try to find this individual via their social media, their dating applications, and we were able to find out that the person had about 6 different profiles across a multitude of dating sites. Was never in the military. Were able to try to locate the individual. Gave 2 or 3 addresses. Printed out all of the correspondence in which the two had, and were able to provide the authorities in which our client lived, to be able to take the next step with the law enforcement agencies. So with that being said, a 6-month intimate relationship that evolved from a dating site, and a $20,000 plus loss, a lot of ill feelings, a lot of anguish, a lot of mental toll, could have been mitigated if you would have hired a private investigator on the front end to be able to vet that profile out, vet that individual out. Our client could have circumvented all of that anguish by just pennies on the dollar of what they lost. So that would be one example. Another example would be a situation in which a very prolific physician was scammed out of a ton of money in a cryptocurrency investigation. So, a cryptocurrency scam per se. A cryptocurrency website or a person that touted a cryptocurrency website for this physician to be able to buy crypto on turned into hundreds of thousands of dollars of loss and leveraging of his practice um, through purchasing what he thought was cryptocurrency and never matriculated on the back end or never turned into actual cryptocurrency on the back end. And it was conducted obviously all online through several transactions, several different conversations with an individual. This is the best, this is the best website to use. This is, what we're going to offer you. If you, purchase this amount, we can turn this amount into this. And there were several back and forth positive transactions that took place of money, but never any viable cryptocurrency traces were taking place. So, person invested $5,000. The person on the back end that was scamming the physician said, "Oh yeah, this is great. Here's 5,000." And here's 2 weeks later, transferred $7,500 back to the physician, and the physician was like, "Oh, this is great. I can make money off of in a few weeks off of this small amount." So that $5,000 ended up turning into $20,000, and it was this back and forth, 20,000, 20,000. Well, what people don't realize is that the person on the back end, the person that was performing the scam, had about 30 of these situations that were going on, and a multitude of successful ones prior to that was bankrolling this whole transactions back and forth. Well, when they got it to the level, when the scammer got it to the level in which, the physician, and we're talking very, very high six figures, the physician was talked into transferring the very high six figures to the individual. The individual ghosted the physician. And that was after the physician had leveraged his practice and took out loans to be able to leverage the amount, because he, if the honeypot is, providing, a 50% return on my money, well, more is better. If I can give this person $100,000 then and get $150,000 back, or give this person $200,000 and get, $300,000 back, I'm going to do it. On and on and on. So, spending a little bit of money with a reputable private investigator to be able to vet individuals in regards to situations like that, transactions, business transactions, investment transactions, could have costed him a lot of anguish, a life-altering, life-changing event. And mind you, law enforcement doesn't have the capacity and will not be on your side in regards to these scams. Very few and far between do law enforcement investigate or investigate successfully, or can get it to the level to get in front of a prosecutor, to be prosecuted, and then be able to identify who the individual is on the back end to go and try to attach to this to even prosecute. So, doing work on the front end could avoid all of the anguish on the back end in those situations. And again, our services are private, confidential, trustworthy. I'm going to be able to provide you the best information for you to make a reasonable decision when it comes to your finances, your particular, personal situation, so you don't run into any of these bad examples on the back end. So just be cautious. And that's, again, those are two very small situations, and there's a lot more that I've been involved in helping clients, um, you know, solve. Um, and 9 times out of 10, people try to come to us on the back end to try to solve, but the toothpaste is already out of the tube at that point. And we can go into the restitution and recovery piece of it as well, which I'm highly experienced in. But again, I would much rather you not get into that facet and avoid it by doing the proper thing on the front end, which is hire my services and I'll help you out.